Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm super excited you could be here because today I'm going to make you some money. Look, I believe that anybody can build a 7 and 8 figure business. It just really takes two things. You should really consider being an influencer, being an expert in what you do, producing content and organic growth. But then you have to really get the second part down, which is ads. If you can use digital marketing the right way and be able to understand it, then you literally can just buy traffic. You can buy all the leads that you need to be able to convert to sales and then you have an infinite ability to scale your company. Sounds easy, but it's not. You might have already tried that and already know that. So to simplify it today, I have brought the man in that this is what he does is teach this stuff to help us understand how we can actually have really endless growth through social media ads. So with us today is Dennis Yu. Now he is the Chief Technology Officer of Blitz Metrics, a digital marketing company that partners with universities and professional organizations to train young adults in social media marketing. Now, he is on a mission to create 1 million jobs by providing practical, hands on training to students and professionals. As co author of the Amazon #1 best selling book, The Definitive Guide to TikTok Ads, and a speaker in digital marketing, Dennis has helped manage over $1 billion in Facebook ads for companies like the Golden State Warriors, Nike, and Rosetta Stone. Now, he has been featured in publications such as the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the LA Times, and on networks like NPR and Fox News. Now, Dennis is a globally recognized speaker, having delivered keynotes in 17 countries across 5 different continents. He regularly contributes to industry leading publications like Adweek, Social Media Examiner, and Social Fresh as well. Now, his educational background includes studies in finance and economics at Southern Methodist University and the London School of Economics. Dennis, really accomplished. Thanks for joining us today.
Awesome, Ty. I'm such an honor to be on your show. I think you've done 830 something I saw on YouTube.
Enough to have lost count. Yes, we have done a lot of podcast episodes. It's interesting when you launch a podcast because you don't know. There's so many things we do in business we don't know if they're going to take off or not. And this has
Yeah,
been a lot of fun meeting with people like you over the last years.
yeah, yeah.
So how about you? What got you started and what got your interest initially into social media and especially like marketing side of digital marketing on social media?
I'm the last person, Ty, to want to be an influencer or be in social media. I didn't speak English until I was 6. I'm a math, Chinese, English. I mean, I fit the stereotype. I was good at math. And I realized that when the internet came around 30 something years ago, I think I built my first site 35 years ago, that if I put stuff out there and I built a good site and then later ads came along. I don't know if you remember AOL. You could advertise on AOL before you could advertise on like Google or Facebook or any of the modern networks now. And it just seemed like a money printing machine because if you knew the thing that I want to show you today, which is super simple, you can put $1 in the machine and get $5 back. And so I've put billions of dollars in the machine on behalf of other people. And they think it's magic, but I think it myself as like a cook where it's a recipe. If you follow, if you're Gordon Ramsay, you have the ingredients, you follow the recipe, you're going to get chicken cordon bleu.
So I follow his recipe and I never turns out very well for me, which is why I need your help here today. So
Yeah.
let's start from the beginning. Like if somebody is interested in launching, and we have all
Mhm.
entrepreneurs that are watching you today.
Yep.
So I think a
Yep.
lot of people are just trying to figure out how to launch. So let's start
Yep.
there. What are some of the
Yep.
first things I should consider if I'm looking at launching into
Mhm.
ads and I don't know what to do from there?
So the first thing is that you need 9 1-minute videos that we call the 3 by 3 grid. And whether it's LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, you're going to find all of these networks talk about using the same 3 stages in the funnel, which are called awareness, consideration, and conversion. So we want 3 1-minute videos each, cell phone style videos where you can pull out your phone and just speak to the camera, right? And 3 videos at the top of the funnel, which is talking about your story, how you got started, something about your family, your values, right? So people kind of get to know you, top of the funnel. Middle of the funnel, sharing some kind of expertise. It could even be with one of your employees and you're honoring them and they're sharing expertise, or you're talking about how you're handling a certain situation, kind of like behind the scenes, right along, right? Not a professional ad like, $50,000 camera, TV, movie studio kind of thing, but just a very, cell phone style FaceTiming with your friend kind of video. And the last video, last three, are 1 minute conversion videos where you're making an offer, where you're asking people to buy or to sign up or to book a call. And so when you have these 9 videos, three at the top, three in the middle, three at the bottom, you can take those same videos and copy them into Twitter, into Facebook, into YouTube, into Instagram, into all the different networks. And then you apply what we call the dollar a day strategy, which is you put $1 a day for a week, which is so $7 per video, and you see which ones resonate. And you're always going to find that one of these videos just does better than the others. Just because people find it interesting, maybe it's the topic, maybe it's the background you have, it's the shirt you're wearing, it's what you're talking about. There's always something, right? There's a mix of there's all these different variables that occur in a video. So when you put $1 a day against it, you're going to find ones that attract your ideal customer, which sounds kind of weird. But Ty, like, have you bought something recently on Amazon?
Yeah, I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon, and my kids think it's a
Yeah.
competition, I think, so they buy way more than even I do.
So for me, it's like Christmas every day, where the Amazon guy comes in the morning and the afternoon. And every time I buy something on Amazon, it recommends more things. Well, people who bought this particular electronics product also bought these other things. And you know how that works, the recommendation engine, right? And
Absolutely.
that's based on your behavior. And the same is true when you are on Netflix, for example, and you're watching a show or whatnot. It's recommending other shows, and it's pretty good at recommending the more it knows about you, right? So when you put out these 1 minute videos on Facebook, on TikTok, on LinkedIn or whatever, and you boost them, every one of them has a slightly different word, promote or feature or whatever it is, but you boost them. You're letting the algorithm do the targeting for you. You don't have to create these complex ad campaigns, or you don't need an advertising expert, because in the last 5 years, the content itself that you make, where you're sharing stories, you're talking about why you're in business, you are talking about what your plan is for Black Friday, you're talking about hiring a new team member, you're talking about some new tax law change, whatever it is, the system, just like Amazon and Spotify, Netflix, and all that, is able to take your content, the engagement against that content, and find other people just like the people that are engaging with you, right? So you've heard the phrase, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
Absolutely.
It's the same thing here. So I see people, they start out on social media, and their social media is just like, and there's nothing wrong. You want to show your food or pictures of your kids, or you're out golfing, or you're at church, or those are all great. But if you want to do things for your business, you have to show yourself, as obvious as it sounds, you have to show little videos along the way of yourself conducting business, so that the algorithm, meaning Facebook and Google and TikTok and LinkedIn, can understand who you serve. So if you've got a service-based business or product, then there's something special about your ideal client profile, about the problem that you solve, about the way that you do it, about why people should buy from you versus the many other people that do the same thing, right? And it's literally that simple. The work is all being done by the algorithm, but I've seen over the years that people won't make their 1 minute videos. If you make your freaking 1 minute videos, like, you have thousands of videos, Ty. I saw that you're with Jay Abraham and John Lee Dumas and other friends of mine. So when you first reached out for the podcast, I Googled you and I saw all this stuff about you. And I said, wow, I really like this guy. I see what he stands for. I see what he does. Then I'm looking at Credit Suite. What does Credit Suite do? And I'm down that rabbit hole because of the content that you put out there. Now, if you boost it, the algorithm will find other people that are just like that. That's the essence of advertising on social, which is it's social postage. For whatever's working, the system will find more of that. It's not advertising. It's like using FedEx or UPS. It's postage to deliver your product, to deliver your knowledge, to deliver the offer that you have.
I love everything about you said, especially the 9 ones. I think it's brilliant, hitting upon each part of the funnel. One of
Mm-hmm.
the things I think that gets us in overwhelm is, you mentioned them all, right? I got Twitter, I
Mm-hmm.
got Facebook, I got TikTok, I got
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. Like,
Yeah,
where do I fight my fight? How do I even decide where to
you
start?
don't. You put them on all of them. I was at a digital marketing conference in Vegas a couple days ago, and the MC was the CEO of a $100 million a year agency. And In the audience, you have a lot of people that want to learn digital marketing, right? And I said, I'm going to prove to you that it doesn't take a lot of effort or a big budget or any of this kind of stuff to be able to do this. And what I did was I went to Twitter and I made a video on the spot from the stage. I was the closing keynote. And I said to my friend, come on up on stage. I want to feature you. Right. And we made a 1 minute video live on the spot about how, here it is, my buddy who runs Alex Mellon, who runs Smart Sites. So this is on the stage. I made this 1 minute video and I said, Alex, what was the key to growing $100 million a year business? And he said, it was this, this, and this. And I said, and so this guy's well known in the world of digital marketing. And there's a lot of agencies that want to be able to grow to be $100 million, but they don't get that big. So what is he doing differently? And then, so it took 1 minute to make that video. I posted it live. It wasn't even edited. And I went to Twitter and I made an ad. I boosted it on the spot and I targeted people who were fans of Smart Sites, which is his company, and people who were followers of Alex Mellon. So it's him. And then I hit suggest and it suggested all the other people that were like Alex or like Smart Sites, all the other people in the industry that are kind of like him, related products and services, that kind of thing. And I boosted it for, instead of $1 a day, I mean, just for fun, I think I put like $10 for a day or something like that. And since then, it's gotten thousands of views. And Twitter has shown that to other people that are just like Alex, people who follow Smart Sites, people who are in my audience. And because of the engagement where he's actually sharing tips, we're not selling anything, right? He's explaining, oh, well, here's how I hired the right people. Here's how I scaled my offices. Here's how, here's mistakes that I've made, right? The system's able to find other people just like that. I was with Jake Paul, he's going to fight Mike Tyson in a week or two. And I was at his house filming because he wanted to make a course. And I made videos just kind of walking and talking while he was out doing some other stuff. I was making some videos walking around his living room. He's got a boxing studio gym in the middle there. Very, very serious. And TikTok recognized that the background was Jake Paul's house and started showing it to Jake Paul's followers. And I got thousands and thousands of people that are engaging on that because I'm boosting for $1 a day and it knows that it's Jake Paul, right? So this happens over and over again. Any kind of content that you make where you can recognize the landmark, it's downtown Dallas, or I'm doing something with Ty Crandall, or let's say I'm a roofer and I'm out on the roof and I'm saying, hey, here's a leak in the roof. There's a hurricane that came through and I'm an adjuster or I'm a roofer in Florida. And here's what I noticed. I grew up in this part of town and you could see in the video that this guy's on a roof. He's talking about, the kind of roof it is and sharing roofing, oh, this kind of thing. I don't know anything about roofing, right? I have roofer friends and I've told them to do this. Get up on the roof, show yourself doing this, show your crews, show, all that kind of stuff. They're like, oh no, it's boring. I don't want to show that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, show what you're doing. I have a friend, Glenn Vo, he's a dentist in Dallas. And, he's a successful dentist to the point where he doesn't have to come to the office. He's hired other people. He's living the life. He's involved with his church. He's traveling, speaking at conferences now, helping other dentists grow. And I said, show videos of you teaching other dentists. Show moments with your favorite patients. Show where you like to go eat. Show all these different stories of who you're with. And that's grown his business, right? But he was thinking, oh, I don't want to show, people's teeth or that's boring or, no, show it. That's interesting. That will grow your business, especially that he's in a suburb of Dallas. So he's talking about what he's doing in Dallas and his favorite places in Dallas and other businesses that he knows in Dallas. And what does the algorithm do? Finds more people that are like that in Dallas, right? It's literally that it's an extension. Think of advertising as a minion of yours that's helping you network, that's helping build your brand, but if you don't feed it, if you don't give it the right direction, no amount of fancy advertising is going to overcome that, right?
So when I'm doing something like this, let's say on Facebook, Facebook or TikTok, we'll just choose
Yeah.
TikTok because TikTok's your thing. So if I come in and I do a TikTok video, and I've never run ads on TikTok, we spend
Right.
figures a year on places like Facebook, Google. Don't know that much about
Sure.
TikTok. So is there a difference? Am I just putting up my video like you described,
It's
then
the same thing.
or am I running going into their ads platform and doing it, or is that the same thing?
It's all the same thing. And when TikTok first came out with their ads platform, they came to me, full disclosure, and said, "Hey, we know you're super well known in Facebook ads. Can you create training and write a book on TikTok ads? And we'll pay you a lot of money." I said, "Sure, happy to." And the engineers told me that they intentionally copied Facebook's business manager. So the people who know how to create ads on Facebook, it's like all of a sudden familiar and how to do TikTok. And I'm not a TikTok guy. I'm not a Facebook guy or a Twitter guy or a YouTube guy. I'm a I want to put the money in whatever channel is the most profitable, right? If it's Google ads, then it's Google ads, right? But the thing is, you take those 1 minute videos, put them on all those different places. Here, I'll show you TikTok. TikTok is a little bit more addictive because their algorithm does facial recognition because it recognizes what's in your background, that kind of thing. So you can put books on your shelf and sort of, influence the thing. But here, if I open up TikTok, you're going to see that, and you can go search for anything that you want to rank on, or you can go look at other people's profiles or whatnot. Look, it's trying to sync my Facebook friends and all that, right? It's always trying because it wants more data so it can try to make recommendations, right?
Sure.
But if you look at my profile, for example, I know it's kind of hard to see here, but there are, let's see, this is the risk of trying to do things live.
No, it's good.
There are TikToks here. Here we go. There are some TikToks here that are just, now it's trying to make suggestions. Okay, see, and some of these videos, I've made a bunch of them. Some of them have taken off and like 1 in 10 or 1 in 15, and some of them go nowhere. But the ones where I'm interviewing clients of mine about, what their beliefs are and how they got started. Or we do this thing with young adults. We have thousands of young adults in our program that are learning digital marketing. There's one young adult here. He became a pilot for Allegiant here. And I'm asking him, "Hey, Alex, how much does a pilot make?" And notice he's not wearing a uniform. We're not at the airport. It's not on an airplane, right? But because of the conversation, which is, "Hey, what does a pilot make?" And he said, "Well, contrary to popular belief, we don't make money when we're all waiting because there's a weather delay, because we only make money when the door's closed. So we're just as unhappy as you guys when we're waiting and there's a delay and all that kind of stuff." I'm like, "Oh, that's so interesting." And so then I told him to like repeat that to me, and I turned that into a video. We were at a stoplight, waiting at a red light to make a left turn, and he made that 48-second video, and it's gotten hundreds of thousands of views and hundreds of comments that are all from other pilots. "Oh, I'm at American Airlines and I fly the, whatever, 777, or, oh, the captains of Allegiant doesn't make as much money as United," or they're like, having pilot talk. And it's all because the algorithm picked up on the nature of the content itself and then the engagement from that. So now, how do I make money off of that? Well, I'm like, how does that help me that thousands of pilots are now commenting on this post? Well, Allegiant pilots then became a client a year after I made that video. And they wanted to, so the pilots are all, they were going to strike because they weren't being paid enough. And Alex, who ascended up the ranks and became in charge of the PR and marketing for the Allegiant pilots, said, "Hey, Dennis has this $1 a day thing." And we took that and other videos and we boosted it against people who work at Allegiant, against people who are at the Allegiant headquarters, because you can draw a little box around where you want to target, right? Geo-target. We ran it during the Super Bowl to people who were inside Allegiant Stadium, right? Because they bought the rights to the stadium. We had a bus where we had a bunch of pilots that were picketing in front of their headquarters. They're holding their signs, talking about their stories, about, because I'd interview these pilots like, "Hey, what do you do?" "Oh, well, I fly this aircraft and I got 3 kids and I've been doing it for, all this." And so what does the public need to know about what the issue is? "Oh, well, there's this and that going on, right, with our contract and it has to be renewed." And that got millions of views, and it got Allegiant management's attention because we were able to, by putting stuff out there for $1 a day. I targeted the FAA. I targeted pilots for American Airlines and United Airlines, all that. And that one happened to work really well on Twitter, but it could work well on any network. I mean, it worked well on TikTok, right? But the key ingredient, Ty, that most people don't realize, if you're an entrepreneur of any type, is you have to have 1 minute videos that show some kind of passion, some kind of expertise, not necessarily controversy. A lot of people think you use $1 a day to start controversy or manipulate the media, which you can, but that's not That's not what you should use it for mainly, right? And that's how you grow your business because people identify you, know, like, and trust you. And that's how you build your reputation. A lot of people see that this dollar a day thing is actually a PR SEO kind of strategy. It is. It is a reputation strategy. Yes, it does help you become more Googleable. But you see, like most entrepreneurs, their biggest issue is they're just invisible. So maybe on social media, they're making a lot of videos. Maybe they're running ads here and there. Maybe they're going again, using the latest AI tool or whatever, but they're just not being seen by the right audience because they haven't told the story and they haven't let the algorithm find other customers that are just like them, right? The whole Amazon, Netflix, Spotify is like, if you listen to this song, you might also like these other songs from these artists, right? Let the algorithm do the work for you. But if you don't have these stories, these 1 minute videos, in the way we talk about in this 3x3 grid, and you can Google it, 3x3 grid, Dennis Yu, you'll see tons of videos explaining how to do it. Then it doesn't matter how sophisticated you are as an advertiser, right? I don't think of any of this as advertising.
So are you putting $1 a day behind every video that you put up on your channel, or do you selectively choose what you do? Put budget behind.
You should probably do it against most because if it's worth spent like on a podcast, I had John Assarath on my podcast. I flew down to see him in San Diego. And, what's the value of his time to be able to spend time with him or Jay Abraham or whatever? That's worth a lot more than $7. Like, are you willing to spend $7? Here's the way to think about it. If you took the time to make a video about something and it's with you or with someone else, is it worth $7 to be able to reach the audience that you want? And let's say organically, like I was looking at your videos in the last month on YouTube, Ty, your videos are maybe, and I'm not saying like number of views and, whatever is like the most important thing. It's just like it's like a diagnostic metric. But, maybe you're getting 300, 400 views. But imagine that one you just did a week or two ago with Jay Abraham. What if we took that and we boosted it to people who are followers of Jay Abraham? And a lot of those are entrepreneurs, and a lot of them may follow your channel or maybe not, right? What if we could get double or triple the number of people to see that? And it's it's quality people. It's not like random people from some third world country, right? Is that worth $7? I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the question becomes, when is it worth more? Like, when do you decide if you just spend $1 a day for 7 days, when do I say, wow, I should put way more budget behind this? Or do you?
So it's a testing strategy. So what you do is you put $1 a day initially because we say we're going to let the data tell us what's winning. And once we spent the $7, we're seeing if it meets our threshold. And the threshold is a 10% engagement rate. So if 300 people saw it, I need to see at least 30 likes, comments, and shares. If I'm not getting at least 10%, that means that the alignment between our content and targeting, or it means the hook in the video, or it means like something about it wasn't relevant or compelling enough. But if it hits 10%, then I'll put $2 a day against it or $10 a day against it. In some cases, I've spent $1 million a day against content. That's where we've done it for like Rosetta Stone or Adidas or Starbucks because they have lots of locations. They have the kind of budget where you can do that, right? But for ordinary entrepreneurs where, they're $1 million a year, $2 million a year as a business, it's not uncommon to spend $50 a day or $100 a day against content that was made even 5 or 6 years ago, right? There's a lot of entrepreneurs that come in and start applying our dollar a day and they think, oh, I've got to keep producing new content. No, you don't. You can take any of your hits from years ago and revive that for $1 a day. Or maybe you had something that worked really well on YouTube. Then you cross-post that, repurpose it, like, copy it and paste it to Facebook or to LinkedIn, or copy the thing from LinkedIn and turn it into a blog post, or put it on YouTube. Or, what I'm saying? Like, take that one thing on whatever channel, copy it to all the other channels, and run $1 a day against it and try to get to 10% plus. If it's at least 10%, that means the algorithm has found enough signal to say, hey, I can see who's resonating here, and I can find more people that are like that because you have a interesting, valuable way to solve a particular problem or some kind of story with your ideal customer profile that people say, hey, wow, this guy's solving a problem with, how do I get a loan, or how do I improve my credit score? How do I, whatever the topic is, right? People find it actually just like with YouTube, right? With YouTube, it's based on watch time. It's the same thing on all the other channels. Same thing on Facebook or TikTok or whatever. It's the equivalent of watch time, which is engagement.
Are you ever worried about getting them off the channel? Because I'm like a direct response guy, right? So the guy way I
Uh-huh.
grew up, and you understand like my mentality is,
Yeah,
you run an ad to get an opt-in, right? That's
sure.
like how I grew up in it. But
Sure.
what you're talking about is more branding and exposure versus like get somebody in my list and market to them. Well, what are
All
your
three stages of the funnel. So there's three stages: awareness, consideration, and conversion, right? And we also think of that as like, you know, why, how, and what. So
okay?
as a direct response marketer, you're looking at your cost per lead, your ROAS, cost per phone call, all that. That's great. That's one of the three stages. Now, if you're under $1 million a year, yeah, put everything initially into direct response, because that money you then plow back into mid funnel to be able to share knowledge, which means what can you do to collect an email address or get people to register for a webinar or get people to come in the door, or you have a free trial, or you have a free consultation. Like those are all things to try to get people in, right? And then when you get above, say, $10 million a year, then you can start investing more in the brand. I think you should always invest in all three levels of the funnel, but just based on the size of your business is kind of where you need to put more of the focus among these three stages. Does that make sense?
Sure, it makes perfect sense. I mean, if I'm newer, then I really want to probably focus on mid funnel or into funnel because I'm trying to get somebody to basically opt in, not just engage.
Right. Right. And you're not running Super Bowl ads or spending millions of dollars doing ridiculous big brand kinds of things. I get it. Small businesses, they have to make payroll, they're cash poor, right? But you still have to build reputation. I see a lot of people that are direct marketers where it's like, I need the ROI and sales right now. And okay, great. But if the only content you've ever produced is about buy now, and you wonder why the conversion's not very high, it's because you haven't built enough trust.
Sure.
And there's a lot of other people that do the same thing, right? So you have to show some stories, like interview some of your top clients on your 5 minute podcast or whatever you call it. And then people who've watched the podcast, you remarket them or you collect their email or some other thing to continue into. And then here's the product or service that we offer, right? That's not hard to do. Oh, we don't have a budget and all that. You can spend $1 a day on mid funnel, right? It's like any business should be able to spend $30 a month on that.
Dennis, what are some as we get ready to wrap up, what are some thoughts, maybe something we haven't discussed that we should discuss for everybody out there to take a next step or to be able to do some of these things you're describing to actually start getting some traction on these social channels?
Here is the most powerful thing I've seen in the last month, and it's working like gangbusters. I don't think it's a fad that's going to go away, and that is interview your top clients and other people in the industry. So my buddy Danny Lee Brandt decided he was going to work with pest control companies. So we started interviewing all these pest control companies and interviewed me because I've worked with a lot of pest control companies. We met the head of marketing for one of the largest pest control companies in the United States. We flew out to Phoenix to spend time with these guys. Thomas Ballantyne of Bulwark Pest Control. They're in, I don't know, like 14 states or something like that. And, recorded video actually showing like, here's how you do SEO for pest control. Here's how you do marketing. Here's how you rank in Google. Here's how you run ads. Here's how you just sharing knowledge, right? And if you're an agency, in this case, a lot of them would say like, I don't want to share my knowledge because that's proprietary. And then they won't hire me if I tell them how I do it. And I said, no, the exact opposite. So Danny went out and interviewed these other people. And just yesterday, I got a phone call out of the blue from a guy who has a pest control company, does a few $1 million a year. They're in New Jersey. And he said, I want to hire you guys to implement my SEO and PPC and all this kind of stuff. And I said, really? How'd you hear about us? Well, I saw the podcast that you guys made talking about here's exactly how you set up your website and do your SEO and that kind of stuff. Right. And I said, wow, that is so cool. And he wouldn't have seen it if we hadn't A, made the content, and then B, boosted it. And we could have boosted it to people in the pest control space who attended Pest World, which is a big conference, or we could have just said, you know what? I think that was on YouTube. It doesn't matter what the channel was, YouTube, Facebook, it's all the same thing, right? But that's what drives the customers in. It's that word of mouth. Then if you have a strong offer, if you have a strong reputation, if you've got great reviews and, People check you out on LinkedIn. I mean, that's all strong, right? Then that's the best way to do lead gen. That content that Danny and I made, where we interviewed all the top people in pest control, that's continuing to run Ty at $1 a day. I think of that as kind of like a secret salesperson, right? Who's working all the time. And I only need to pay them $1 a day, and they're continuing to generate leads. Now I've got hundreds of these agents basically that are out doing the work. So the takeaway is if you really care about your customers, you really care about results, and your customers love you, interview them through Zoom like this or in person if you can, and put that out there. Doesn't have to be professionally edited or whatever. And then put $1 a day against it and watch YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram bring you more of that same audience. That will actually make your regular ads more effective, because then people who click on your ads where you're an offer, direct response, you're getting people to sign up, whatever. If they've already seen some of the content that you've made, they're more likely to buy because they already know they've already seen you before versus being just cold, right, Ty? That's the big thing I want people to see. It's not a big production. It's literally with your cell phone. You can do the thing in a minute.
Dennis, powerful stuff. And we just scratched the surface of what we could dive into. Where can somebody that's watching this that wants to learn more and take next steps, where should they go? What should they do?
They can email me, dennis@blitzmetrics.com, or the best thing is they can go to Google and they can type in my name, just like they can type in your name, and they can see a full knowledge panel show up. So these colored boxes that show up, that's you have one, I have one, all of the stuff is here. I'm easy to reach on every single channel. And there's videos on how to implement $1 a day. Depending on what industry you're in, we probably have $1 a day examples in that industry, and it's all public. You don't have to sign up or pay for anything. It's all, I mean, we have courses and all that too, but the majority of our content's free. I would like nothing more than any of you guys that are watching or listening to try $1 a day. Just try it and let me know how it works for you. And I think you'll be surprised. And I just love seeing, we've got thousands of success stories. I just love collecting more and more success stories.
Dennis, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Thank you, Ty. And then when this goes live, I'm going to boost your episode with my money for $1 a day.
I'm worth the $7.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you. And listen, if you're watching this, I don't know if you really recognize how groundbreaking this is, because what he literally did was just lay out the simplest way to be able to build yourself up on social media. And for, let's be honest, a budget that any of us can afford. So I think you might be watching this just starting in social and it's overwhelming and you don't know where to go and you're trying to worry about ad platforms, all these things. He just really simplified it with a $1 a day strategy. And if it wasn't simple enough, then there's a couple things to do. Make sure, first of all, you do what he said and go and Google his name. So that's Dennis Yu, Y-U. So go ahead and Google him. The second thing is you want to go to blitzmetrics.com. That's BLITZ metrics.com. And when you go to Blitzmetrics, there's a lot of great resources there, including you can click on $1 a day to be able to get more insight there. You can even be able to hire Dennis specifically for coaching and guidance, amongst other things there as well. So make sure that you check out both. Go and Google. I mean, look, I think that if you want to actually see what he's doing, go Google it and see for yourself. Dennis Yu. And again, that's YU. And then also go to blitzmetrics.com, blitz, BLITZ metrics.com. This is a lot of good stuff on his site, including more on the $1 a day, more on his blog, more about getting coached by Dennis as well. And you can link at the very top right to all of his social media channels. So you can take less than a minute and you can actually see what he's doing, which will give you more insight and ideas to be able to do it for yourself. But this is literally the simple step-by-step. It's not even step-by-step. It's just like step. Like there's only two.
Yeah.
Steps, like 2 steps.
1 minute videos, boost them.
Yeah, I mean, you make the videos, you boost them. Like it can't be more simpler than this. And this is something you can walk away from right now and start taking action on. And then when you realize it works, come back. And again, look, make sure you Google his name. Make sure you go to blitzmetrics.com and then maybe even be able to get with him and coach to be able to talk more about doing this at scale for your business. So make sure you check it out at blitzmetrics.com and make sure you're also Googling Dennis as well at Dennis U. And then make sure that you also take a minute at Blitz Metrics to make sure that you follow him on social media so you can see how this works and you can duplicate this because it's very actionable to be able to get killer results on your end. So make
And
sure that you
I'll
do
just say
that.
one thing.
Sure,
If
Dennis.
like a lot of people my age, I just turned 50, are overwhelmed with this social media technology thing. If you've got a young adult, maybe a son or a daughter, you can send them into our training program. And there's thousands of these young adults that have done this. And then they're making the videos, they're managing the social. And then you, as a business owner, you just need to talk to your customers for a minute at a time or give a tour of your office. Or it's just, I find it's a lot easier for folks to have someone else who's assisting them. And often there's like an unemployed son or something that's perfect for this sort of thing.
Sure. And while you're on Blitz Metrics, you can learn a lot about this. Like he's got sections on how to learn how to test your ads and scale, how to take your digital marketing to the next level, how to work with Content Factory. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these things where you can get started to learn more right at Blitz Metrics. But as you know, like you're going to get better results faster if you're working with an expert that's been there and done that. And you'll have those opportunities there as well. So make sure you check it out. It's all at blitzmetrics.com. So thank you very much for tuning in. Take care. Don't forget to visit blitzmetrics.com and execute this dollar a day strategy. Take care. Have a great day.